Hi everybody! Today in our SPAG lesson we are going to be doing some revision just like we have been all week, and this week we are going to be revising or revisiting how to use commas accurately in our sentences. So I'd like you to pause the video for me and write your date and your learning objective, and when you're done unpause the video. Okay, so there are three main reasons that we learn about in Year 4 for using commas. Can you remember what they are? You might want to pause the video and have a chat. If you're at home, you can have a chat with your parents or carers, or if you've got brothers and sisters. And if you're doing this lesson from school, you can chat with the people around you and the teacher who is leading your lesson. Okay, so the first reason that we often use commas is when we're writing lists, and we're going to practice that today. The second reason is between two clauses in a sentence. So remember, a clause is a part of a sentence. So we've talked about subordinate clauses and main clauses. So you would put a comma between two different clauses in a sentence. And the third reason is if we have a conjunction. So always you should have a comma before a conjunction in every sentence. Okay, so firstly, we are going to think about using commas in a list. Now, I've got a bit of a picture here, a bit of an example of a list, and it says you need a jumpsuit, comma, goggles, comma, a helmet, comma, a camera and a parachute. So this could be a list of things, if you're going skydiving, maybe. But you can see from the big red arrows that for every item in my list, there's a comma after it. So jumpsuit, comma, goggles, comma, a helmet, comma. Apart from between these last two. So you always have an and between the last two. So commas, they separate items in a list apart from the last item, which is separated usually with the word and. So that is commas in a list. You've done this before. So what I'd like you to do, your commas in a list challenge, is, here we go. You are going to finish these sentences for me. So I've started the sentences. I'm going to read them to you and I want you to finish them. But you need to have a list of items, just like in the example up here. So you're kind of magpieing this idea. You're kind of copying it, but you're going to write your own list. And as always, bonus points if you make me chuckle. When I read your home learning, if they're funny, that makes me laugh. Okay. So the first one says, when you go on a sunny holiday, you need, you're going to finish that off. I want you to write me a list of things you need on a sunny holiday. Make sure you're using those commas accurately. Number 2 says, to become an astronaut, you need. And number 3 says, if I win the lottery, I will. So you're going to tell me some things that you would do if you won the lottery. So if you want to pause the video whilst you write your sentences, that's absolutely fine. Okay, the next reason that we use commas in our writing is before conjunctions. And we know that conjunctions are joining words. Got lots of examples of conjunctions on the screen here. You guys are great at using conjunctions in your writing, but sometimes we forget to put commas before them. So that's what we're going to be practicing doing. So I'm going to show you some examples and then you're going to do some on your own. So move this out of the way so you can hopefully see a little bit better. And this sentence here, I've taken the comma away. So it says, I like cake although it isn't good for you. Now, I'm going to find my conjunction first. That's my first job. So this is my conjunction, although. And I always put a comma before a conjunction. So commas go before conjunctions. So this is my conjunction, so my comma is going to go here, just before my conjunction. And so the sentence reads, I like cake, comma, although it isn't good for you. Let's try this one. You are cute, Jeffrey, even though you meow all the time. He is very cute. Look, this is Jeffrey. Say hello, look. He's come for Spag. He likes coming to my Spag lessons. Go. So, you are cute, Jeffrey, even though you meow all the time. Now, your job is to find the conjunction. Did you spot it? This is your conjunction here, even though, and you're going to pop your comma just before. Okay, so we've had a go at some of those, and I'm going to give you some sentences now, and you are going to put the commas in the correct places in the sentences. Are you ready? Okay, so number 1, I love Spag, although it is sometimes a bit tricky. Where does the comma go there? If you're doing this lesson from home, you can write out the sentence and put the comma in the correct place. I'd love to see you doing that in your books in school as well. That would be amazing. Number 2, I bought a new lipstick because I had a party to go to. And number 3, I took Winston to the vet as he had hurt his paw. Interesting. When you're ready, unpause the video and I'm going to show you the answers. Okay, so there are your answers. That's where you should have put your commas. I love Spag, although it is sometimes a bit tricky. So we've got although, that's my conjunction, and my comma goes just before my conjunction. Number 2, my conjunction is because I bought a new lipstick because I had a party to go to. So if that is my conjunction, then my comma goes just before it. And number 3, I took Winston to the vet as he had hurt his paw. As is quite an old-fashioned conjunction. It's a bit like because. It kind of means have a very similar meaning. I took Winston to the vet as he had hurt his paw. So I found my conjunction as, and I've put the comma just before. So well done if you managed to get those. Now, the third and final reason that we're going to talk about today for using commas is between clauses. Now, when I talk about clauses, I don't mean this kind of clause. This is Santa Claus. Okay, that's spelled C-L-A-U-S. But the clause that I'm talking about is this kind of clause up here, C-L-A-U-S-E. And that is a clause in a sentence. So what is a clause? Can you remember? A clause is basically a part of a sentence. It's a group of related words used together as part of a sentence. I'm going to show you some examples now. We have done this before. You're going to be amazing at this. You're really good at this one in Year 4. So, here are some sentences. And they have got 2 clauses in. So, although it was winter, Mrs. T wore flip-flops. Although it was winter, comma, Mrs. T wore flip-flops. And we've talked in the past about main clauses and subordinate clauses. So the subordinate clause is the one that doesn't make sense on its own. Remember that? So we've got, although it was winter, it's my subordinate clause. And we have got our comma just between the subordinate clause and the main clause. And you can see here, I've got my comma after my subordinate clause again. Okay, and here, Jeffrey, comma, the naughtiest cat in the world, comma, likes eating tuna. It's true. It's true. So we have used commas to separate our clauses. Now, I'm going to ask you to have a little try a couple of these. We're just going to do 2 of these together, and then I'm going to give you 2 to do on your own. So we're going to look at where the commas should go. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple, and then you're going to do a few on your own. So, because they worked so hard, the children in Year 4 all got full marks on their Spag test. So, because they all worked so hard, I'll read that again. Because they worked so hard, the children in Year 4 all got full marks on their Spag test. Did you manage to get that one? You're absolutely right. It goes here. Let's try one more. Miss Jones takes her dog George for a walk every day, even though it is cold outside. Have a chat about that one. Where do you think the comma goes? Does it go here maybe? Maybe it goes here. Or perhaps it goes here. What do you think? It goes here. Well done if you managed to get that one. So this is your final challenge for today's SPAG lesson. There are some sentences here. Okay, and you are going to write these in your book with the commas, in between the clauses, just like we've done before. And your pro tips, I've got some pro tips for you here. You are going to look for adverbial openers and conjunctions. So adverbial openers or fronted adverbials like we did last week, and conjunctions. So if you manage to spot those, that will give you a really good clue as to where your comma should go. So I'm going to read them for you, but I do want you to write them out on your own as neatly as you can. So number 1 says, I am really cold even though the heating is on. Number 2 says, my cat keeps meowing at me although he has already been fed. And number 3 says, even though it is frosty outside, I am wearing shorts. So if you need to pause the video to give you some time, that's fine. And in a moment, I'm going to reveal the answers for you. Okay, so there are your answers. That is where your commas should have been in those sentences. So just here, even though I am really cold, I am really cold, even though the heating is on. My cat keeps meowing at me, although he has already been fed. And even though it is frosty outside, I am wearing shorts. So that was a very whistle-stop tour of how to use commas correctly. But you've done that in the past, and I've got a feeling that you will have done really well on today's lesson. If you're a bit confused about commas, or there was 1 or 2 of those that you think, oh, I'm not sure about that one, I can't get the hang of commas in a list, that's quite tricky, then don't worry, because we're going to practice it all together when you come back to school. And when you send in a picture of your home learning, you can always write a little note for us to just say, oh, I found commas in a list, Mrs. Thompson. I found that really hard. So we won't ever be cross. We just want to know so that we can help you to understand better. So have a lovely day. I hope you are carrying on working hard, and I look forward to seeing all your work. Bye.